My dear learner, there is a saying that practice makes perfect. So once you watch this video, try and practice it, rehearse it, so that it becomes part of you. Before we move on, I beg of you to subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button just beneath the video. Please take a minute or less than a minute of your time to do that for me. Thank you for doing that. Today, we are still on quadratic graph and its interpretation, but we are going to look more into the interpretation. That's what we can use the graph you have drawn to find some information. This is a graph of f of x equals x plus 1 all squared minus 4. And this is our line of symmetry, dividing the graph into two equal parts. And I would like you to see it well, so I am coloring it. So you can see that it is divided into two with different colors. The left side, let's look at something. The x values, we are considering the x values now, and we come to the y values. The first point, the x value is -4. Then it increased to -3. Then it increased to -2. Then it increased to -1. So we can see that for x, the values are increasing. Now, let's look at the y. The y starts with +5, then it came to 0. That means it is reducing in value. Then -3, -4. So we can see that that of the y is also decreasing in value. Therefore, this tells us that for the left-hand side, whilst the x values increase in value, that of the y decreases in value. So, if you are asked to write the range of values of x for which y decreases as x increases, then it would be that of the left-hand side of this diagram when it opens upward. So we pick the first x value, which is -4, and that is what you see here. Then the last value of the left-hand side, that's what I'm talking of, where the line of symmetry is -1, and that is what you see here. So we can say that x is between those values, and it is read as x is greater than or equal to -4 but less than -1. This is the inequality way of writing the range of values of s for which y decreases as s increases. Someone would ask, why didn't you include -1? Look at it well. This is the reason. I am going to zoom it for you to see. Good. We can see that where the -1 is, that is the point, the turning point. -4 and -4. So the S value, which is -1 at this place, we can see that at this point the graph is flat. I hope you can see it. It's flat. Again, at this point the graph is neither increasing nor decreasing. That's why we exclude -1, because at this point the graph is flat and it is neither increasing nor decreasing. I hope you get it well. Let me enlarge it again, zoom it, and you see it well. You see everything here is flat, but because on your graph you cannot zoom your paper, but on this app you can see it well. So that's the reason why we exclude -1. Good. I hope it is well understandable. Now we can write it in the interval notation form as this one. This is a closed bracket, and you see that we have -4 as S value for the first point. So we write that one first, comma, then where the turning point is, we write the S value, which is -1, and that one is upping. All because -1 is not included. This is closed because -4 is included. So these are the two ways you can write the range of values of S for which Y decreases as S increases. Either we write it in the inequality form or you write it in the interval notation form. Now let's consider the right hand side. So we are at the turning point, so we start from there up to the last point. So here too we write -1 as part of our answer and 2 as part of our answer. Let's see, it started from -1, then it came to 0. From 0 we move to 1 and then 2. So you can see that X values are still increasing. But let's look at the Y, if it is also increasing. Y started from -4 at the turning point, then it moved to -3, 0, so you see that S values are also increasing, then to 5. So at the right hand side, when the quadratic graph uppings upward, then for the right hand side both X and Y values increase. So we write that the range of values of S for which Y increases as S increases is S is greater than -1 but less than or equal to 2. So we write the S value for the turning point where the other one ended. That's where this will start from. And then the last value of X, which is 2, and that is included. With that too, you can write it in the interval notation form as open bracket -1, 2 closed bracket. I have told you that open bracket means that that number which comes after the open bracket is not part of the answer, whilst the one that comes close, or the last one that comes close to the closed bracket, means that that number is included. So these are the values of x for which y either increases or decreases and s increases or decreases. And this is the graph that opens upward. Now we are going to look at where the graph opens downwards. This graph you see on the screen is a graph of f of s equals 5 minus 4x minus x squared. And this is its line of symmetry. So we are going to consider the left hand side like what we did in the other graph, and then we consider the right hand side. So for the left hand side, let's look at the values of x. The first point is this one. So we can see that the x values, this is -6. For the first point, this is -6. It increased to -5, it increased to -4, it increased to -3, and then -2. Then let's look at that of the y values. From -7, it moved to 0, so it is increasing. Then to 5, increasing, 8, and then 9. So you can see clearly that the y values are also increasing in value, which means that when the graph opens downwards, the left hand side would have values of x and y increasing in value. So if you are asked to write the range of values of x for which y increases as s increases, then you write the inequality form or the interval notation form. Don't write both, they are all correct. So we have x is greater than or equal to -6 but less than -2. We pick the first value for the first point, and then the turning point we pick its x value, and that is what you see, the -6 and then -2. And we exclude -2 at the turning point for the same reason as the one that opens upward. So I am not going to show it again. Then when we pick the right hand side, we can see that starting from the turning point, because we started from down here up to here, so you cannot break and start from the right hand side to the left. No, we continue from the turning point till we get to the last point. The turning point starts with the x value -2, then it increased to -1, it increased to 0, it increased to 1, and it increased to 2. Let's look at the y values. So you can see that the x values are increasing. The y values start from 9, it drops to 8, it drops to 5, 0, it drops to -7, meaning that the y values are decreasing in value. So at the right hand side, whilst the x values increase in values, that of the y values decreases in values. So we write the S value for the turning point, and then we look at the last point, we write its S value, which is 2. And the inequality form, we have x is greater than -2, -2 excluded, and you know the reason, but less than or equal to 2. Then for the interval notation form, we have open bracket -2, 2 close bracket, where the open bracket means that the -2 is not part, where the close bracket means that the 2 is part of the answer. So that is all about finding out either y is decreasing and s is increasing and so on. So always when you are given question, take time to analyze the s values, and then when you are done, you analyze the y values to find out which one is decreasing and which one is increasing. For today, this ends our lesson. If there is anything you don't understand, please watch the video over and over again for understanding. May God be with you. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bye.